Hello artists! Welcome to this week's feedback video. And I think that this has been the most fun week that we've had so far. I love seeing your imagination and the abstract drawings.
MB was thinking.
Welcome to my kitchen office in Florida. Sometimes noisy, it doesn't even matter if I say I'm going to make a video. Okay, so this was our, wait a minute, let me show you this first, I think. Yeah. Okay, so this was our first sketchbook assignment, sketchbook number 1, and I think that was so fun, and it looks like doodles that I've done all my life, you know, and that I still do to this day. So I think everybody had fun with that. This one was difficult, I think, but everybody still managed to pull something interesting out of it, and I'm so proud of all the work that you've put into that. And then this one, I actually went in to look at our coursework this week, and I talking to one of us about how much we had going on this week, and this particular video here, I don't really love. I don't like that the artist uses his finger. I think that's him, I'm not sure, or a they, to blend. So I think that's like bad advice, and I just don't love the final outcome. So what I'm gonna do is I took it off of our list. If you did the assignment, I'm gonna give you 10 points extra credit. So I think that's fair. And then if you didn't do it, you didn't lose anything. So hopefully that agrees with everybody. Okay, so now let's look at Abby number 1. And this is adorable. I'm so impressed by how well this assignment came out for everybody. It's just so cute. And then here's Abby's charcoal. That was our second assignment, remember? And hers, she got such a good range of values. Something that in the art world that we always have to do is make a value scale and see how many shades that we can get from the darkest dark to white, you know, and how many shades can you get in between there. So that is, she was very successful in the number of different values she created here. So that is wonderful, Abby. And then Abby did do that third assignment that, you know, I think it was hard to make it look good. It was almost like one person's style, but, you know, shows you how you can use different materials, and even like, you know, maybe you wouldn't have thought of using a knife to scrape your pencil onto your paper and then getting these really dark shades, values. But anywho, looks good. Okay, and then here's Chloe. Hold on one second. Anyway, this is she and I talked about this, that do we have to do exactly what the artist is doing in the video, or can we just be inspired by it? And absolutely, you can just be inspired by it. I feel like this is incredibly creative, and I love seeing a different take on the same idea. So starting in the center, and then, you know, she's got curves going on here, she's got angles, and it is balanced in every direction. So it's not only has symmetry, it has radial balance, which is what that's called. And I think it's just amazing, really cool. And I love how she used curved lines to add not only value, but a little bit of texture, and they appear to be dimensional, if you notice, you know, like cylindrical, or like, you know, like the shape of a straw, or, so yeah, it really comes to life, and great range of values. And then here's Chloe's number 2, and she decided to add some color with pastel, chalk pastel. And I think it's really, it's got a lot of class, is how I really feel about it. It's her shading. I know this was difficult for her, and she spent a lot of time on it. And but you know, what she has here in the end is a work of art. It's like you spent this time and now look at what you have for your portfolio. And don't think this isn't going to speak to people who are looking at your portfolio. They're going to recognize your skills with a difficult medium, you know, charcoal. I think it's difficult. It's messy. And then this is Haley's sketchbook number 1. And Haley, I just love the time and the effort that you put into bringing this drawing to life. So these deeper values here, the darker values, and how things seem to come forward because they're lighter. Did you see how big my hands got there? So they really do, and that is a skill in drawing. So deeper values are going to go into the distance, you know, like recess, and lighter values are going to come forward. And so she's using this, it's almost like an undulating, you know, like technique with these little, I don't know, I guess you'd call them worms. Yeah, it's just so interesting. I am so impressed, Haley. Okay, and next this is Haley's sketchbook number 2 and her charcoal. She did some really beautiful blending. And something kind of fascinating I noticed, this must have been the next page after your first sketchbook, because you got this really cool detail of the impression that your pencil made on the page and went through to the next page. So that's just fascinating. And super well blended and just beautiful. It really becomes an interesting space that you could go into and imagine, you know, like climbing through these shapes. So fantastic abstract. And then Haley also shared her progress from sketchbook number 3. That must have been, you must have pressed hard on that first drawing, because I'm seeing that same texture here in this one, which is really cool. And I kind of wonder about your chalk. That looks like children's chalk, but isn't your baby only like 6 months old? I don't know, maybe I got students mixed up, but I thought that was so cute. So also, again, wonderful, and then you're going to also get the 10 extra credit points for doing this additional work. It's a lot of work. Hey, here's Ian's sketchbook number 2, and I feel that Ian's lines are really flowing, and he really did a lot of experimentation with creating different values as well. So he's got from the darkest black, you know, up to this clean white. And I think it's great. I think it's great, Ian. You're doing really well. Now let's see if I can figure this out. Okay, so Ivy turned in this, I think it's her sketchbook 1. And I really don't mind if we put things in the wrong area. I really feel like this week was really complicated because every video had the word abstract in it, and the final project had abstract in it, the word abstract. So, you know, everything says abstract. So I am just like going with, I think, is what I believe to be the best case scenario. So I think that this could have actually been your final, but I know that it's not, because your final has, you know, so much more detail in it, and it feels like a more individual piece. But this still meets the guidelines of starting with a center and going out from the center with different, you've got different shapes and different shading techniques to create different values, and it's pretty fabulous. I love it. I really do. One thing that I could share with you at this point, I hate to make these videos too long, but if you have Photoshop or a photo editing software that you use, you can actually clean up any eraser marks by using, you can select your subject, and then it'll put the little dotted line around your subject. The marching ants, yeah. I don't know if I made that up or that's really a term. Oh, so maybe I learned it from one of my coworkers, but yeah, the marching ants. And you get that around something that you selected, and then you can paint bucket the rest of your drawing, and all the erasing, any inconsistencies, you know, in shadows or whatever are going to disappear. And to pick your color, you want to use the color selector and pick the lightest area, you know, basically the color of the paper to use rather than a white, you know, because then that's going to look like, oh, I can tell you edited it. But, yeah, it works brilliantly. And if any of you would like me to do a tutorial about that, so you can clean up your drawings for midterm and final, I'd be happy to do that. Okay, and here is Ivy's sketchbook number 2.
What?
Father's Day problem. Cake. What are we going to do with this cake? Okay, so Ivy also has a very flowing line. She created these beautiful lines, and she's got the full variety of values from the darkest dark to the, you know, color of her papers. So wonderful experimentation with charcoal. And I know, believe me, I know, it's so messy. So it's impressive that, you know, to me, even that you worked so hard on it, you know, and blended every area of your drawing. So that's wonderful. Good job, Ivy. Okay, and here's Remy's sketchbook number 1. And I think this is just an exceptional drawing. And I love, Remy, how you have such a strong control over your pencil when you're working, that your outlines come out really dark and confident, and I think that's masterful. So looking forward to seeing anything else that you guys turn in for this assignment. If you were a little bit late on any part of it, yeah, that was it. Remember, within 7 days you can turn in any assignment and you just lose 10 points, whether it's, you know, 1 day or 7 days. I guess 1 to almost 7 would be a week. But all right, we're going to leave it at that, and I'm going to do the sketchbook video separately. So I'll talk to you all soon. Have a great week, and I look forward to next week.